Hey guys, welcome back to another developer diary. So for this week I've got quite a lot to show you on the Soulbound game project. So I'll just play the game as I try and talk through it. So right now we have this dynamic camera, we've got the two players, and as you can see right now, just today I'm messing around with adding lighting and effects, which is why the ghost and these Oni mask enemies are now glowing, which that might not be final, but I'm just messing around to see how lighting will look in the game. Because as of now, we are basically in the polish and addition phase of the game, because the game right now is fully functional and playable. Well, there's a glitch there, it shows the light down there and not the ghost. We're just mainly just bug fixing and just polishing now. So if I'm the ghost, I can possess this dragon enemy, I can jump around, I can attack the player. As you see there, that does damage to the player and it knocks him up a bit. And then I can unpossess the dragon head enemy, go into a different enemy and start trying to attack. If I attack the enemy that he's in, it's a bit of knockback on the sword attack. So we've got pretty much all the fundamentals down. So as you can see here, we've got this random level generation, which I've been creating a lot of different rooms for. So as you can see, like here, we've got this cave looking room. Over here we've got one of the new enemy types we've worked on, which is this frog enemy. Essentially, well, I'll unpossess it first. The AI for it is that it will throw these crescent moon things out of its helmet. So as you see, it's I drew it as to be like a samurai frog with, a frog with a samurai helmet on. But if I'm to possess it, and I've just found a bug there. I was wondering why it wasn't jumping. It seems to be stuck. Strange. There you go, he's unstuck now. As you see, that's what his AI should be doing. I think there is a bug with him interacting with these platforms a bit odd. But as you can see then, the AI for it will randomly jump and shoot projectiles. If I'm to control him, then as you can see, I can move around by doing these little bounces. And then also if I hold up, the jump button, I can sort of charge a jump. So this is a normal bounce. That's how far he can jump, but then I can hold it and do an even longer jump. And then his attack is throwing these little crescent moons. But as you can see there, that didn't really go anywhere because it's actually a charge projectile. So if I tap it, as you can see, it kind of just drops out. Whereas if I charge it, as you can see, it goes a lot further. If I charge it for really long, it goes probably a little too far. So this is the new enemy type we've got at the moment, but there's also another one if I can run into it. I'm really keen on its way of moving by just bouncing around, so I wanted to make sure it was quite different to the dragon head enemy, and it feels very distinct from it. There's a little bug there where we need to fix, a visual one though. So as you can see, the scoring system is working at the top, and if I'm to dice the ninja, as you can see, we have this particle effect that sort of transitions between the two players. Oh wait, sorry, because it's swap players now. I'm now controlling the ninja with the arrow keys rather than with W, A, S, and D. So, I've just died again there. So if I can find the other, there's the other new enemy type. So this enemy is, here I'll possess it. You can move, you can fly around as it, and it sort of bounces off the terrain if it hits it. So as you can see there, I'm bouncing around quite a lot. But what this enemy does is if I just anywhere and press the attack button, he drops down, builds up, and does a big explosion, which is pretty fun. So that's the two new enemy types we've got at the moment. And as you can see, now I'm player 2. Player 2 is now gaining score at the top, because the score is based on how far you travel as the ninja. So as you can see, possessed enemy dies. Oop, wrong button. I'm controlling this one. As you can see there, it just kills the enemy and then the ghost pops out. I've spent a lot of time doing all these little art bits, you know, all these mushrooms and bits of grass and skeletons, some of these crystals. I've got some of the old tile set and these like trees. And all in all, the game's coming together really well. I'm very happy with the progress we've made. So, what also happened was, because we have to do like a presentation on our game each week, for the last week, we actually ended up getting the like team of the week, just because we ended up making quite a lot of progress, which was quite good. And then just yesterday when we went in, I see there's the AI for it, it'll sort of home in, and once it gets a certain distance to you, it will explode. But yesterday when we had to do our presentation, they had some like industry professionals come in and watch, so it was quite interesting showing off our game to them and getting some feedback on it. So you can see I can possess this. I do quite like how it bounces. The only thing it's missing is this and the frog enemy need to be animated, which is what I'm working on. And you see it's very bouncy, which I quite like because it quite fits it. And I can just detonate. I can hit him while he's detonating to knock him back a bit. So all in all, the game's coming together really well. We've got 2 weeks left on development left, and as of now, since the game is already in a fully functioning state, with, you know, I can play this game, all the win-loss conditions in. So right now we have it so if either player gets to 500 points, the game will end. It'll come up with saying like, you know, this player won. See, we've got a little pause menu there. And something that won't really translate well to shown in a video is we've also implemented a controller support. So right now if you plug in like an Xbox controller, for example, you can move either player with the joystick or the analog stick, and then you have, I believe it's like A is your attack button and B is the like possess button. Well, if you're the ninja, I think it's A is your attack button, and when you're the ghost, I believe it's A is your attack button and B is your possess button. Something along those lines. But yeah, we actually showcased like playing the game with control support as well, which was pretty cool. But as you see here, if I get 500 points, it comes with a little thing saying player 1 wins. I can just restart the game. Then, other than that, we've also got a work in progress main menu. Yeah, it's save. As you can see here, it's got a little main menu. I had one of my teammates create. It's pretty simple, it's just a work in progress for now. It has a little options sub menu, which, you know, we could just have like brightness or audio sliders, or we might change it to a controls menu just to make it clear what controls are what. And now obviously start will transition to the actual game. Then other than that, we've got this little UI up here, which as of now basically shows what the ghost is possessing. So if I was to possess this Oni, as you can see it shows the Oni mask enemy. If I was to possess this dragon, it shows the dragon enemy. It's a bit flattened for some reason, but that's just a little bug we can fix. So that's just a little UI thing to make it clear, especially to someone watching the game, what the ghost is controlling. See a little. I quite like how it bounces as well when it falls. That feels quite good. So yeah, I did mention this might be a bit of a chunky video, but yeah, there's quite a lot to showcase this week. So as for the coming week, again, because I said because the game is fully functional and playable right now, we are just working on polishing the game and just making the game better. So right now for this week, I'm creating some lights and lighting effects. I'm going to be doing the art for these two enemies that aren't fully animated. This one's mostly animated, the explosion animation's done. As you can see, it goes orange, red, and then a particle system, which looks quite nice. So doing stuff like adding light to those particles I think will work really well. Just mess around with that sort of stuff. Oh, and then another thing, I think we might have had this last week, but we have this little Parallax Background. So as I run this little park system again, as you can see, the hills in the if I can get to a room that doesn't have anything in the background, essentially those mountains and the hills in the background move at different rates because the hills are obviously closer, just like a little camera effect. So then, as I was saying, for the coming week, I'm going to be creating the art to animate this frog enemy, because right now it's not animated. The main animations for it will be, I'll do a squatting animation for when it's like charging its jump, just so there's like a visual indicator on when it's charging its jump. So right now it's charging its jump, and that's that glitch on the moving platforms again. Strange. But I'll get one of my teammates to look into that. But as for me, other than creating the animation for that anime, I have been painting all these rooms, because right now each room, if I go into my prefabs level generator, each room is like a pre-made thing. So you see, here's one room, here's one of those cave rooms, here's another cave room. And one thing I've just had one of my group members working on today is, because we got feedback from one of those professionals saying that a cool way to sort of differentiate some of these rooms would be, instead of having these enemies placed all the time, have some pre-placed enemies, so there's always as few enemies in the room, but have there be a chance for different enemies to spawn in different rooms, which it really isn't all that difficult to implement. It's just create an enemy spawner object that chooses. It'd be very similar to how the level generation spawns a random room. When creating level generation, it'd just be in that random room, choose to spawn random enemies. So I've got one of my group members working on that as well, because right now we have a nice dynamic of, I essentially have 3 people doing a lot of the programming and a lot of in Unity stuff, and then I'm doing a lot of the design and all the art stuff. So like, all the level design, all the pixel art, all the animations, all the lighting, that sort of thing. And then also for the coming week, I'm going to be taking a go at doing the music for the game, because I actually bought a keyboard the other day, so I thought that might help me with like coming up with little like melodies and tunes for the game. So as for music, it'll probably just be a simple, couple minute 8 to 16-bit chiptune sounding song, and then a little maybe a menu song, and like a little victory melody at the end of the game. So nothing too complex. But all in all, I'm really happy with the progress we made this week. So the other main things we're working on this week are essentially just game feel stuff and just making stuff more responsive. So for example, right now we are, if I go over to this Oni mask enemy, there's no indicator that I can possess it at all. So someone might not actually know they can possess it until they're told, or like they read the menu. So one visual thing we're working on is, when you go over to it, we want a visual indicator. So I had a lot of different ideas for that. Either we could have like a particle system that sort of goes between the two of them, similar to how when the swap happens, or maybe we could have a sprite that puts maybe a spectral chain between the two when it's in possession range. And then it's also just a lot of little things, like when you possess like that, we want a little particle system to shoot out, and then some sort of indicator to show this as a possessed enemy, other than this UI, because it is quite out of the way. So maybe, a particle system around it, or the enemy changes colour, or just like a little arrow above them just to show this enemy is the one being possessed. Then, other than that, it's just polishing essentially. Like if I die here, I just saw that particle system right now is just purple because that's just a placeholder, because we're messing around and trying to make it look really nice. So like I've got one of my team working on basically creating like a lightning effect happen when the swap happens, because the feedback we've got now, because we've got the game fully playable. It's just the main feedback we got was make the possessing and the swapping between the two players, which are the main like mechanics of the game, making them feel more impactful. So other than adding like particle systems to stuff, another idea we had is when these two players swap, for example, then suddenly the ghost turns red and this ninja scarf goes blue, so essentially there's a red player and a blue player. As well as something I want to look into is, instead of just adding light on this ghost sprite, adding it onto this particle effect so that the actual light is like flickering on it, like a fire's light would flicker. And same with this particle system on the Oni Mask enemy. So right now as well we are over halfway through development now. We have 2 weeks left, which means it's definitely feasible for us to get this in a very polished state, because considering we have 2 weeks left and the gameplay loop's finished. But anyway, I think that's everything I want to show this week, just because I feel like I'm rambling on a bit, but yeah, quite a lot of progress made this week, and I'm quite happy with it. So, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all next week. Alright, peace.